1, 2, 3.
Turn it up. Big wheels keep on turning, carry me home to smack you, singing songs about the Southland. I miss Alabama once again, and I think it's the same. Yes. Well, I heard Mr. Young sing about her. Well, I heard O'Neal put it down.
Love you, boys!
Sweet home Alabama, Lord, I'm coming home to you. In Birmingham, they love to go now. Boo, boo, boo. Now we all did what we could do. Now Watergate does not bother me. Does your conscience bother you? Tell the truth. Sweet home Alabama, where the skies are blue. Sweet home Alabama, Lord, I'm coming home to you. Here I come, Alabama.
You guys could gather in a little closer, would you please? Yeah. All read the note on the bus. Just on behalf of the Sidell family, I'd like to thank you all for coming today and participating in this. In a few moments, they'll ring the bells in honor of Josh, which, as you know, is a long-standing tradition at the zoo. Thank you all, and let's have a wonderful day. Great memories.
Thank you so much.
Okay, on to the tailgate. To Josh.
Now muscle show
All right, my favorite memory of Joshua Michael Seidel is when we met when we were in kindergarten. We sat at the same table because both of our last names are at the end of the alphabet. And I remember Josh as a kid, he used to sneeze a lot. And he'd sneeze and so much snot would come down that he'd have to like wrap it up in his hand and walk to the Kleenex box. I told him this once later on, and he said, "Oh, that's funny that you remember that about me." And he was offended, I think, a little bit. He said, "I remember you as a kid whose legs were so chubby that I waddled, and he described it like a penguin as I walked or ran, that I couldn't run or walk, I waddled." And ever since then, we became best friends and went to kindergarten, grade school, high school, college together. He took a little extra time in college, so he was here while I was in law school. So that is my favorite memory of Josh because it is my very first memory of Josh.
My favorite memory of Josh is the first time that I ever met him. We had driven 14 hours from New Jersey to St. Louis and went to a ugly sweater / crazy costume Christmas party. And Josh greeted us at the door and made me feel immediately welcome. And I was just excited to be in St. Louis after meeting him.
My favorite memory of Josh is kind of a composite. Essentially, no matter what questionable decision I was making, Josh supported me no matter what. That's the kind of friend he was. So, as many bad judgments as I made, Josh would always support me, and I would make them with him. So, we miss you, Josh.
My favorite memory of Josh is definitely spending time with the lake. It was so much fun. We always brought everyone together, and we had such a great time. My favorite memory was a random Halloween. I think it was 2000, dressing up with Josh, and we went to a movie with a bunch of friends. My favorite memory is just his really warm, sweet smile, and he just made everybody feel like he was their best friend. My favorite memory of Josh has to be the table he kept in his living room that we danced on after ours every Friday and Saturday night, and then the night of graduation, the table collapsed. Yeah, we were done. Graduation. College is over.
Alright, my favorite memory of Josh dates back to when we were in grade school. And we were out on the river in the old Kawasaki jet ski, cruising around. There's a boat that went by. Josh dared me to cut it really hard, sprayed water on this whole family, completely drenched their afternoon. To which they followed us back to the shore, told Mike and Terry, and we were banned from the jet ski the rest of the afternoon, so we just played stick with Max. So that's one of my favorite memories.
It's always great. It's always great with
My favorite memory of Josh is the times that we've had swing dancing together.
You know it's going to happen. It's going to happen again today.
On the dance floor at Field House.
Well, my favorite memory of Josh is, well, there's a few from the night that we spent with him. Was first a salsa experience. My husband and I made salsa from our garden, and it was the hottest thing he'd ever had in his life. But he liked that, like choking because it was so hot.
I forgot about that. We ate the whole thing of salsa. It was like jalapeno, fire, loved it, which made us drink a little too much. Cool it down, lessen the fire.
And then the music comes in.
Yeah, and then just I think his love of music. I didn't really know him as much as everyone else here, but you know I think just the crowd here and everything that's been going on. I think it's a testament to the type of person he is, the type of person he was, and I think he's a great guy. And I shared a passion for music. I share a passion for music with him, and I think it was awesome. That's what I remember the most.
I think one of the other things I remember too about that night that was so amazing was how proud and excited he is about the things that he loved in life, especially riding with his dad.
Yeah.
He talked, and Jeremiah's never rode a motorcycle, wasn't really into that, scared, and he talked about that for like 2 hours about all the times and wonderful memories he had with his father, and you could just tell that that was just something that's such a big part of him. It was pretty amazing.
Cheers to you, brother.
So, you know what? Cheers to you, Josh, and we love you.
Eric asked me my favorite memory of Josh, which there's been too many to count, but I'm going to go with my first memory. It was when Eric and Josh were fixing the snowmobile that we put in the back of either one of the Lake's Jeep or Eric's Jeep to go out to Forest Hills and go snowmobile. And just watching both of those guys just work on that for a couple days probably to try to get it working. And then we got it working and we just tried to kill ourselves.
So the hardest part is I've got about 1,000 favorite memories to try to narrow it down and pick one. But here we are on the Mizzou campus, and I'll never forget the time when Josh came up to visit. He wasn't yet here at Mizzou and came to visit me. And we took him out, we had a good time, and he was overserved a little bit. And we came back to my place, and at the time Michelle and I were dating, and Josh was in the top bunk of the bed, and I think Ben Mormon was there, out on the roof of our fraternity house, where he probably shouldn't have been. And Josh was going to get sick, and Michelle was trying to grab a bag, went to grab the trash bag, and had the bag in her hands and was kind of screaming, "I can't get it open, I can't get it open." And you could just see Josh have that physical movement where things were going to come out. And he started going like this and kind of choking, and he couldn't wait any longer. He was trying to wait as long as he could. His cheeks got big and he started spitting and everything. Michelle's standing right in front of him right below the top bunk, and she got a shower, the whole thing, and he vomited from head to toe on her, let loose on it, and it was one of the funniest things I've ever seen when you stand there and you watch someone who just got literally vomited on, and you're laughing your ass off. And I feel bad for her, felt bad for him. It was one of the funniest things ever. And the best part is that, all three of us could laugh about that for a long time afterwards. And again, that's just one story that the three of us have in common that nobody else really knows or can share. And there's a million other stories like that. And I was glad we were able to live those types of moments with them. We can look back and laugh and think about all the great times we had together. Here's to you, Josh.
One of my favorite memories, Josh was a sober driver all day long, driving the boat around for all of us. We got back to the condos, and him and I sat on the deck, Led Zeppelin, for about 3 or 4 hours having a few groceries. I love it.
My favorite memories of Josh are right here, tailgating, and especially coming to the tailgate and wondering what was next. And my favorite year was a shot clock of ice that eventually they had to kick over because campus police said, hell no.
Yeah, everything Josh ever did impressed me, but the story about him taking a little bitty boat, parking it in the biggest slip he could find, and just waiting for the big boats to show up so they could rain money down on him, that was Josh. I mean, the guy was always turning the buck, and I loved every idea he ever had, and God bless, I'm going to miss him a bunch.
Josh taking us over to Aqua Pizza, Pizza Open down at the lake. He was the sober driver. Mike was usually drunk though, so I had to be the mature adult. But also going to concerts with Josh. So, funny guy, Allman Brothers.
Party and went dancing downstairs with his friends. Us old moms and dads won't ever quit.
Him riding on his, not the big
motorcycle in his white jacket for a CPC graduation. That one, and then he and Ryan, when I told them they couldn't go down to Deerbrook on their bike because the wind was blowing too hard, he never let me bring him back.
Okay.
My favorite memory of Josh is on instant message on G-Chat. Like, we would always talk about our weekends, or what was coming up, or gossip, or I would get advice from him. And he was kind of like a big brother to me. So I have a lot of memories, but that's kind of like the general.
My favorite memory of Josh is, he was actually, I went on my first date in college with Josh Adele. I had liked him for quite some time. Brooke and I worked together at Willie's.
Genevieve.
Genevieve and Willie's, and obviously she dated Jeff, who was Josh, that was kind of my in. And we went out to the Bourgeois and had dinner in the A-frame, and then we went back to his apartment, and he was like, "Want to listen to some Widespread with us?" And so that's, we just sat there and talked to Widespread, and it was a good time. So that was my first memory of Josh. My first good memory. They were all great.
Hey guys, as I was making my way back over here to the stadium from Tiger Tailgate, I noticed a tailgate in a familiar spot, but I knew that something was just a little bit different. Just outside the Hearn Center, there were a group of young and old, having gathered to support the Tigers, also to remember and pay tribute to a true son of Missouri who was taken from this life way too soon. A friend to so many, Josh Seidel of St. Louis was a 2002 graduate of the engineering school and a devout supporter of our Tigers. His friends and family are holding the first ever Tailgate for Josh to honor him prior to today's game. While the pain of the loss of a brother, a son, an uncle, and a friend never truly fades, the knowledge that Josh is right beside each and every one of them, finishing the ZOU to their MIZs, keeps the memory of a great young man forever alive. Our thoughts and prayers with the family of Josh Seidel.
My favorite memory of Josh is his happy, carefree attitude, no matter where we were or where we were going.
Lindsay would be upset with me for mentioning this, but when we were in middle school, so 8th grade, and Josh was in high school, I would go and lay in his waterbed and wait for him to come home because we were all obsessed with him, and I just assumed one day, everything would work out. So that's something very silly. Josh was an amazing guy, and we'll all miss him for our lives. I love you, Seidel. My favorite, one of my many favorite memories of Josh is one day when we lived on Country Ridge and the Seidels lived on Silverwood Lane. I walked out to the garage to go for a little bike ride up to Lindsay's house, but my bike was no longer there. Little did I know, Josh and Ryan, sometime earlier in the day, overnight, stole my bike and left it in the campground because they were so frustrated with me following them around. So Josh stole my bike and I was there for it. Don't even think about it.
You'll find love.
One of my favorite stories of Josh would be the time we were down at the lake with Kevin Deptula, and we were on his boat. We went to a bar, and this goes back years and years ago. But we brought some friends with us. We were back on Kevin's boat, and Kevin was driving. This is like 2 or 3 in the morning, and he he was driving about 100 miles an hour in the dark at the lake, and I was just freaking out because Josh was the only buddy that I knew how to drive a boat. And I'm like punching Josh, so I'm like, Josh, wake up, and he was just sound asleep. We had girls on the boat. He was sound asleep, no worries. Kevin Deptula was full throttle at the boat, and it was just a pretty wild night. There's a million stories that go behind this, but that's all we can say for the camera right now. That's all I got. I got a million stories. A lot of good ones. One of my best friends.
It's in your soul.
Alright, so I met Josh probably a dozen times, and just about 3 months ago, we went to Taste of Clayton, in Clayton, of course, and then went back to my house, and we probably drank beer until about 1:30 a.m. from 10:30, about 3 hours straight. Had the best time ever. It was me, my now wife, Melissa, and a few other people. Just had a blast, and I could tell he was actually supposed to be at our wedding a couple weeks after that, and I was very disappointed that he couldn't make it. And after that night, I was like, that guy's badass, and I can't wait to hang out with him more. And he made a big impact on me in just brief moments we were able to spend together. So we had a lot in common, I could already tell.
Alright, favorite memory. Favorite memory is impossible. I got a thousand memories. Most recent, best memory was Lake of the Ozarks last year. There for the weekend, we Party Cove all Sunday, doing our thing, doing what we do. Storm clouds rolled in pretty quick. A million boats all tried to leave Party Cove at the same time. And it created literally hurricane-sized waves, like 4, 6, 8-foot waves in the main channel, and all the boats were leaving at the same time, and the storm was coming in on top of it. And I'm telling you, like, woo! Boats are going like this, everybody's flying all over the place. Literally in our boat, girls are crying, dudes are looking at each other like, this is legit, what are we doing, this is serious, what are we gonna do? I look up at Josh, he's just got that shit-eating grin on his face, same one he always had, just cruising through it all. And afterwards I asked him, I was like, so, were you scared? Is that for real? He's like, that's as bad as I've ever seen. Yeah, I was scared. We didn't look at for a second. Took us all to safety. We did a million times before, and we laughed about it 100 times afterwards. It's the most recent memory. So we got a million more.
One of my favorite memories of Josh is from this tailgate, actually. Josh put me in charge of getting the parking pass and setting up about 2 or 3 years ago. And he sent me over to a friend's house. He said, the guy's totally fine, don't worry about it, just get in touch with him, go get the parking pass. So I called him and he told me to make sure that I watched out for his 2 German Shepherds, and absolutely terrified me. So I called Josh and I'm like, Josh, this guy told me to watch out for his German Shepherds. I'm terrified to go in the house. And Josh was like, oh, he's just scurrying around with you. He doesn't have any dogs. So the things that I went through to make sure that this tailgate came into fruition, but it was definitely worth it. We miss you, Josh.
You're on.
My favorite memory with Josh Seidel has got to be when we, without purpose, accidentally ran the boat into some things, and the prop had to be redone, so we needed a way to get the boat out of the water from the lake. So I called my dad, we got the 1-ton, run to Columbia, went down the next weekend, pulled the boat out, borrowed a trailer from the local guy at the lake, and had the prop reworked without the Seidel family actually knowing we had to do that. That, at this moment, is the one thing that stands out to me that we had to do. I love Josh. We had the best time. It was always a project. It was just one thing after another.
And you said you would
All right, so most people don't realize there was a good Josh and there was a bad Josh. And one afternoon, bad Josh came out at the lake. We just got done dropping everybody off over at the ledges. Hawk's driving. He doesn't have his Go Fast boat anymore, so we're not even close to being out of the no wake zone. And Seidel just starts going, Hawk, floor it, Hawk, Hawk, floor it, floor it. So of course Hawk floors it, takes off. Everybody in the condo's giving us the finger. So then John's impeccable docking abilities are about to get shown over at our ledges, to which Fritchie's on the bow of the boat trying to avoid crashing into the dock. Hawk throws it in reverse. Over the bow goes Fritchie, hanging from the guardrail, dangling his feet. Gets back up. We finally get the boat docked. Josh and I can't figure out the lift for the life of us. Next thing you know, we hear a fucking splash. 5 minutes later, Hawk comes walking around the boat. He fell in the goddamn lake.
I did.
So what?
Trying to hold the damn boat and the dock together, but it was too much fun.
So Hawk finally gets the lift up. As we're walking up to dock, Josh is behind John, slapping a wet towel behind him, just heckling him the whole time. And then bad Josh turns into good Josh and goes, you know what, Hawk, you can't come over to our condo. And he goes, why not? And he goes, because if you go over there like this, Laura is going to have your ass. So going from bad Josh to good Josh, John made the right decision to go up to the condo and not come over to the Seidel's, so Laura would have it fast.
Josh actually wasn't just taking that towel and smacking the dock. Josh was taking that towel and smacking my ass.
So that's one of my classic memories, obviously.
That was a night to remember.
Josh and all our good times that we've all had.
One of many nights to remember.
I have so many incredible memories of Josh. We were roommates the second semester of my freshman year, and we lived together for, gosh, like 3.5 years. So to pick one memory is really hard, but my favorite memory is the Halloween that we all dressed up as the Baywatch characters together when we dressed Lincoln. So Lieutenant Stephanie pulled in the woman because he has the flattest chest on earth. So, and Josh went all out and made incredible costumes for everyone. And it just kind of symbolizes Josh of bringing everyone together and doing something so fun. And it was just so Josh. And it was just such a great memory. And one of many memories, incredible memories that I have of Josh.
All right, I have my Josh story, and I have many stories, but our senior year when we lived above Broadway, some hooligans came into our apartment and I ran through the wall. It was not me. It really was not me. But those hooligans didn't fix the wall, and luckily Josh was always willing to help out, always willing to do anything. He fixed our wall. He talked to Mike Menser.
And you got our deposit back.
I think he may have put a Britney Spears poster over the wall to hide any holes that remain. So, but really, Josh was just a great guy, and he didn't have to fix that wall. He could have said no. We could have hired someone. But he did it. Didn't ask any questions, and it's just who Josh was.
So, I think it was Jeremy Jones, friend of Josh. We, our junior year, Josh and Mike Link had the idea that we were going to dress up as the Karate Kid for homecoming. And Josh took the reins, as he always does. And he got all the costumes together, the Dragon Dojo or whatever, Ralph Macchio, Mr. Miyagi, all of them. So we went into By George and we crushed them. Josh led us in first place. So that was awesome.
So joining the like, you say my friend.
the lake becomes a movie scene and there are waves crashing against boats. There's people like falling into the water. And Seidel like drives us back to the house. We have Jan below the deck because she's so scared of what's gonna happen. I want to get out my phone and like videotape this movie that we're in. And Josh is just sitting there one-handed on the steering wheel, like getting us back to safety as the boats. That's the best memory of
I don't know if I have one single favorite, but one of them that sticks in my mind, pretty recent. Josh coming over my house. The day he was trying to go on a motorcycle ride to help me finish my bathroom. He taught me how to do some dropping the tile. One of the many times that he was there to help me out.
He'll do it. Okay, so my favorite memory was 4 years ago at Halloween at Lindsay's. He was getting ready to wear his Mitch Buchanan Baywatch outfit, and the girls were curling his hair, and he looked like Susan Boyle, right, from American Idol. My most recent favorite would have to be when he towed the boat, all the way from the lake to St. Louis. It sat in our driveway for like 3 days maybe, and Josh came over every night and helped Dan clean and wax that boat, and it was the highlight of Lily's day to come home from school and see that Uncle Josh was there and got to have dinner with us. It was just frozen pizzas probably every night, but I think the Cards were playing in the postseason. He had dinner with us every night, and for weeks after that, Lily said, "Is Uncle Josh here for dinner? Is Uncle Josh here for dinner?" So we just miss him and love all these memories.
So, memories, you know, I mean, I think about Josh, there's so many things, it's hard to say kind of one thing, but I mean, he and I had so many things in common that we liked. And he was so passionate about all the things he liked, just like I was so passionate about all the things I liked, you know, snowboarding and wakeboarding and just all these, you know, sports and movies and music and everything, and we just had such a connection, you know, we were like brothers almost, you know, and we would always compare stories, and it was just amazing. But I do when I think of Josh, I do think of a time when we were down at the lake. Of course, it had to be out the lake, and you know, he and I were both into wakeboarding, and so we would go out, we'd get up early and get out on the boat before it got rough and do some wakeboarding. And Josh decided he'd been trying this trick to do this back flip, and he doesn't come close to landing it, but he's full on going after it. He's up in the air, he's inverted, and crash, you know, down he goes. And he'd be like, "Let's do it again, let's try it again." And he just kept doing it, and he knew he wasn't going to make it, but he just was like, "I want to do it anyway, let's do it again." And we just kept doing it, and I would do my tricks. It was just so much fun to just like hang out and do the same thing together that we like to do so much. I mean, I miss you, man.
Josh always extended his friendship to me from Ryan, but my favorite memory is gonna be the last memory. We spent 2 nights with him 6 days before he passed away, and he was so worried about me by getting run over a car because we were riding our bikes, and my husband was like in a mission to get first place, and Josh didn't care about that, so he waited for me. I was in a mission to not get a heart attack that day, so I always say like, "Josh, you can keep going, go, don't worry for me," and he's like, "Don't worry, it's all about the ride." And I was just so excited to know more or spend more time with him. And then 6 days later was gone, and I was just so grateful for those 2 nights with him. So thank you, Josh.
One memory that comes to mind is when we rented the RV to come down to do what we're doing today, tailgating. And we didn't have a place to park it Friday night, so we just pulled into a neighborhood in East Campus and realized that we couldn't run the generator all night. So we just pulled out an extension cord, ran it to one of the nearby houses, plugged it in for the night. And we all went to bed, passed out, woke up the next morning to someone beating on the door. You SOBs, you can't just plug this into my house! Who do you think you are? And I forget who we blamed it on, but I'm pretty sure it was Josh.
So it's really hard to come up with a favorite story for Josh. So I'll go back to one of my first stories with Josh, which is when he didn't know me, I didn't know him, but the goal was to rebuild the deck at Sigma Chi. And we got a whole bunch of lumber, and he said, "Do you know how to use a skill saw?" And I said, "Well, actually, I kind of do." And we basically spent a whole weekend redoing the deck at Sigma Chi, just the two of us, and I think that was one of the first stories that I have about Josh, and probably the foundation for our friendship.
The memory about Josh, I've been away from St. Louis for a period of time, and we hadn't actually been in touch, for quite a while. And so I came back into St. Louis, and I kind of reached out and connected with Josh after a long time and not talking to him. And we just, he was so open, just kind of like welcoming and warm. We met for breakfast down in Chesterfield Valley, and I don't know, it was just like nothing had ever changed. It was just, it was just really, I think, spoke to kind of what Josh was, and it was different, I don't know, don't use that.
In July. He came to my lake house at the Lake of the Ozarks, and he drove his 40-foot boat. And our dock is like tucked between two docks. We've been here for 13 years. I've never ever seen anyone be able to pull in into the dock alone. He took his 40-foot boat, back it up, back it in, and once we tied him up, I was like, what the hell? I mean, he can do anything. He can drive anything. But it's like I've never seen a boat that big come in flawlessly, but he made breakfast, he brought beer. The last weekend I spent with him, and I'm very thankful.
When I worked at Home Depot in O'Fallon, Josh would come in once a week or so, and he would look for me and come and talk to me just to say hi or just to be a friendly kid. I miss that about him. So, yes, I do have a special memory of Josh, and that was it.
It's really hard to pick a favorite memory with Josh because there's a lot of great ones. Growing up as kids together, like siblings, a lot of great holidays together. And then Josh claims that he introduced Eric and I and hooked us up, so I give him credit for that. Just a lot of great times together in college, great times at the lake. And then when he came to Michigan after Dylan was born, he spent time with us and he did. A lot of great times with Josh.
Alright, so Josh was the person I always leaned on, whether it was motorcycle or boating or anything. So
I don't have a good story for you, but things that Josh did for me was he taught me how to change the oil on my motorcycle and to fix stuff on my motorcycle with the boat.
In your house.
But that was Mike. He taught the boat, Josh. We were just determined for me to learn how to drive that boat. So Josh and I would spend hours on that boat, parking it in the middle of the lake next to a buoy, trying to figure out how to manipulate it within the waves and everything. There's countless hours that I spent with Josh that he would do things for me. And the way I look at it is he was a big brother to me, and acting, he took those times as a big brother to me, not as a friend, but treated me as a younger brother, wanting me to get better at certain things. And those are the things that I always cherish of what Josh did for me.
What I remember most about Josh is his loving spirit. And the only thing I can think of is how I went to him over my other two older brothers to teach me how to do all the scary things in life. He taught me how to ride a bike. He taught me how to ski. And to this day, he's the only person I've trusted to ride on a motorcycle with. He's my protector
First of all, my name is
And we have had the pleasure to know Josh for the last 16 years, I guess, something like that. Seidel family, the Heffley family, you guys are salt of the earth, and Josh is looking down on us now, saying yes. I mean, a guy like that only comes around once in a lifetime. Once in a lifetime. Just
So you don't take the calls from me?
a friend to everybody.
That's right.
Stop what he's doing. And oh yeah, I help her.
So what's the county?
We were glad that he was a part of our lives. And
Yes.
our sons.
Yes.
And now his family's a part of our lives. And we love them.
Here's my memory of Josh Seidel. Every time we pulled up for the boat when John Hawk was driving it, Josh Seidel jumped out, got everything ready to make sure we didn't crash the boats. He had all the ties going, and he made sure we were safe all the time. But my best memory is when him and his mom were pulling us away from Backwater Jacks, and they both fell in the water. That was my best memory, and it was like 45 degrees. They came up laughing. Happy, whatever, Josh, we miss you. We miss you at the lake. Love you.
My favorite memory is right here. Slidell on a homecoming. Everyone else went to the game. All I did was project that homecoming game on a fucking 20 by whatever screen. And we hung out, we came out at the halftime because we had him in hand. It was all taken care of because it was Seidel.
So, like everybody, I have millions of favorite memories with Josh, but the best one I can think of that I have is, so when I left grade school, I was going to CBC and I didn't know anybody, because I was the only person from my grade school who went to CBC, and I met Josh the summer before we started at a sports camp, and we hit it off right away, and the rest of is history, and I'll never forget that, because without meeting him that day, my life would be completely different. So I miss your brother, and you're watching over us. Love you.
After you meet her fam.
Okay, start over? Yeah. Hello, Mike Blake here. So, one of my good memories of Josh, obviously there's millions, but I'll never forget my freshman year, and Josh and Fritch came down and asked me to live with them.
And so at the time, you know, we were kind of an awkward stage between just being activated as in Sigma Chi becoming actives, and we had to do room selection for our sophomore year. And so I was so pumped when they asked me to live with me, especially with Josh, because Josh already had the keyless entry room. And so I was like, well, if anything, I don't even know if Josh is terrible to live with, but he's got keyless entry, so that's got to be pretty freaking sweet. And so they came to me, asked me if I'd be their third roommate, and I was like, sold. So fast forward to sophomore year, and we're in this ridiculous room, and it's huge, and we're trying to figure out how we're going to play in the room. And of course, you know, Josh designed the whole thing, drew it all up. Eric and I are like, yeah, whatever you want to do. And he builds this like 3-tiered like loft thing with 2 queen beds and then a coffin single bed, which I was in because the room wasn't big enough for 3 beds, but the whole plan was to rotate through the year. And what I loved about it the most was that was, you know, like Josh and I were both an engineer, but that was like the time that the 3 of us really became close. And one of my favorite pictures is the 3 of us doing the 305 on our ski trip. And so, sorry to get a little emotional here, but and the long short of it, that really changed my life. I really felt that I learned to open up in college because I was pretty quiet my freshman year, and I owe a lot of that to Josh. Both being engine nerds, we really struggled through a lot of classes together, and obviously Josh and I were not model students when it came to grades. I mean, both of us barely finished in 5 to 5.5 years, so it was something that we always had together, the struggle to get through all that, and the opportunity to live with him half of sophomore year, all of junior year, and all of our 5th year was something that I will never forget. And I look back on it as probably one of the greatest part of my life, and I'm so fortunate that I was able to spend that all with Josh. So I just want to say, Trost, thanks for putting this together, and Josh, I love you, man, and I miss you, and I know that someday we'll see each other again, but I know you'll always be with us. Love you, buddy. Peace.
Clouds as black as night now.
Alright. I want to say it was the summer of 1998. So, 4th of July weekend, it wasn't, let's call it that. Pearl Jam tickets in Kansas City, and obviously we had the Kansas City boys, so Josh and I drove the old Delta 88 or whatever down to KC. We stayed at Ned's the first night, and the guys said, we're going to have a great time and have a wonderful time down in Kansas City, and we called around and nobody was there, so we got in touch with Ned and Crawford, and they were both downtown Lebanese convention. Since we were underage, we were asked to go down there. Free beer was promised to us. So we show up, and Ned and Johnny are basically like the proprietors of the entire place. They have the whole thing to themselves. John has a suite. Ned's talking to some other Lebanese women, and John says, come on up to my room, we'll get some beers. So we go up there, it's Josh and I, and obviously Josh has his blonde flowing locks. At that time my hair was a little bit blonder than it currently is. We come walking down the street, or walking down the hallway, and the guy says, be quiet, be quiet, be quiet. Whatever. Go into Crawford's room, have a drink, come back out. The same guy, as we're walking past, is out there. He says, hey, I've had enough of this, be quiet. Crawford turns around, it's 3 of us walking abreast down the hallway, and says, shut up, Dad.
Seidel with a grin as big as he's ever seen. Just the typical Josh smile. Turns, and with that smile says, "That's your dad?" Dana Crawford thought he was taking to him impersonally, so comes flying down the hallway. Josh and I somewhat step out of the way. John turns around, a tussle ensues. The security guards at the hotel that evening were on the lookout for blonde-haired, blue-eyed people. Since it was a Lebanese convention, there were none of us around except Josh and I, who were immediately fingered as the people responsible for the fracas, or fracas as it were. We were summarily dismissed from the downtown Marriott Hotel and asked never to come back. If I can point out the rest of the story for the rest of the weekend, it would probably take me another half an hour, but one of the best times that Josh and I ever had. Look back on it with smiles and memories. John and Dana Crawford can do so as well.
It gives me extremely great pleasure to introduce someone to the stage right now that if you haven't heard, you need to hear, and you hear for the rest of your life. One of the most beautiful voices that I've heard in a long time. I'd like to introduce Vusi Malasela from the Mamelodi Township of South Africa. When you can't find the light to guide you through a cloudy day, when the stars ain't shining bright, it feels like you've lost your way. When the candlelight of home burns so very far away, oh, you got to let your soul shine, just like my daddy used to say. Soul shine, oh, it's better than sunshine, it's better than moonshine, damn sure better than rain. Well, now people don't mind, we all feel this way sometimes. Got to let your soul shine, shine till the break of day.
Now let me tell you this, I grow up thinking that I have it made, going to make it on my own. But life can take the strongest man and make him feel so alone. Now and then I feel a cold wind blowing through my aching bones. I think back to what my daddy said. He said, why in this darkness before
sunshine, it's better than moonshine, damn sure better than rain.
Damn sure it's better than rain.
Well, now people don't mind, we all feel this way sometimes. Got to let your soul shine, shine till the break of day. Well, sometimes a man can feel this emptiness, like a woman has robbed him of his very soul.
A woman too, Lord knows she can feel this. But hey, when you're the world that seems cold, you got to let the spirit take control. Yeah, take control.
Talking about sunshine, it's better than sunshine. It's better than moonshine. Damn sure better than rain.
It's better than rain.
Well, now people don't mind. We all feel this way sometimes. Got to let your soul shine. Shine till the break of day.
Shine, shine till the break of day.
Talking about soul shine. It's better than sunshine. It's better than moonshine. Damn sure better than rain.
Damn sure it's better than rain.
Well, now people don't mind. We all feel this way sometimes. Got to let your soul shine. Shine on to the break of day. Well, I said sunshine. It's better than sunshine. Better than moonshine. Damn sure better than rain.
Damn sure it's better than rain.
Well, now people don't mind. We all feel this way sometimes. Got to let your soul shine.
Oh, sunshine.
Yeah, shine on and on and on.
Shine on. To the breaking day. Lama kaba kabimbola bizama kakaka she was ngondo ne was wakaba nguzikoko. Lama kaba kabimbola bizama kakaka was wakama nguzikoko. So shine.